Yeah, it's rich in bubbly goodness.
Do you remember when you lost your passion for this work?
I invited another friend. I hope that's okay. Ah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis. And welcome to another episode of the Lunch Table's After School Specials, where guests who can't join us during the noontime, lunchtime, you know what? We just meet them after school to kind of talk to them, find out more about them, just kick back and have fun. And speaking of fun, let me bring up my co-host, Fat Steven. How are you doing?
Well, thank you for saying fun and not fat. That's great. Great opening so far. But hey, I'm doing pretty good. It's a nice Saturday. I can't see the cold outside. I'm loving the snow. I want this year to be over, and I'm looking to trade my Weight Watchers points for a little bit more sanity for 2021. How are you, Lorena?
I think that's a good trade-off. Yeah, I'm doing good. Trying to deal with the colder weather here. I think it's like what? Let's see. It says 45 Fahrenheit. So I'm guessing it's maybe about.
Don't even do it.
Do what?
You trying to talk to the Canadian about cold weather here?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Snow Mexico disagrees.
I have to do that because even though I was born and raised in a cold freaking place, I appreciate that there are places way much colder than mine. But sorry, too much Islander blood. I'm going to complain about cold weather to the day I die.
It's part of your genetics. I'm going to give you my thing right now. It's 1, -3, -3, -3, and 1. This is for today and tomorrow, and it feels like -6.
So it's like what? Let's see, Fahrenheit.
Probably right now there's a lot of squirrels with frozen
15? Squirrel popsicle.
This doesn't taste right. What's going on? But I'm excited. We had to wait a little bit. We had a little talk in the back, but we got someone who was just a content creator, but she's also the machine and grease and wheels of a lot of shows we watch online, don't we?
Yes, she's like an Iron Man. The scenes, pulling the strings, lighting the fires, whipping people up, and putting together a top-notch production. A production that I am upset that I only get to see maybe a half hour when it starts and a half an hour when I get a chance to watch. But we are talking about the show Friday Night Tights, and welcome to our show, the producer of Friday Night Tights, Lady Gravemaster.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
I swear to God, sounded like you just landed a TIE fighter.
It did. It was cool. Talk about the coolest entry ever.
They still hear me carrying the corpse out of the back of the truck. Don't put that down. How they know?
Well, I have. How could they know? Well, speaking of cold, I'm from the Dakotas, so we're right there next to Canada.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Ooh.
It's cold where you are too, right? So her complaining about Florida weather means nothing.
I'm hilarious when
robotic.
Oh wait, we're kind of losing her a little bit.
Oh God, the TIE fighter took her.
Oh no. Oh no.
This is the awkward pause moment where she regains signal.
That's okay.
You're breaking.
She'll come back. Yeah, break up a little bit. That's the thing with being on a phone. Can you hear us?
I'm sorry. I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, that way better.
Don't ever apologize. Oh, good.
Yeah, you're the guest. It's our fault.
Yeah, we're not alibis either. So
no, it's not your fault. I'm coming back in. I'm coming
Okay.
Oh
I guess
no,
she's gonna.
the Imperials must have gotten her.
Okay, hold on. Nope. She'll be back in. Okay. Okay, now it's a dot. Oh no, not the white nipple of destruction. Okay. Hold on, Lady
Yeah, white
Gravemaster.
circle. How do you feel about being a
Let's
producer
see.
on this show? I'm sorry, I'm going with it.
That's weird. Hold on. Let's see.
She's so powerful she broke the internet.
Okay, yeah, I'll bring her back in because sometimes with the
She's on her cell phone
it's
too.
crazy.
There she is.
There we go.
Hello.
Hi.
I think the delay is fixed now, I believe.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yay. Perfect.
So you sound much better. There we go. There we go. Don't worry, I'll cut all the rest of that crap out. Well, it'll be fun with my editing skills.
Wait, what you do is you put you overlay it with a buffering symbol so it looks like it's buffering.
Yeah. I think I have that graphic too.
I'm glad to know that there's now 5 women in the world who think I'm somewhat funny because she was laughing at my jokes. So I got self-esteem today.
But you were saying that you were from the Dakotas.
I am from the Dakotas, yes. And it gets cold. It was colder than the surface of Mars one day up there.
Oh.
So it was like right in the middle of the state, I believe. It was with the wind chill, it hit like -88 or something like that.
I can't.
Did you get hit by snow? What was it last week? Because you got pounded for like 24 centimeters. Did you guys get hit by the same storm not too long ago?
Within like where we up in the northern North Dakota, I believe did. It's been pretty dry, actually. Unfortunately, we got some rain and some hail, but as you know, that doesn't do really anything except hurt.
That's weird because we got pummeled up here. I even have pictures of it. I think I told Reina we got hit with 24 centimeters over 24 minutes. Is someone doing Morse code? Are we in trouble?
No, sorry.
Okay.
I was moving things. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. That's like messing with you, but it's a pleasure having you here from the Dakotas.
Absolutely. I've been so excited about you coming on.
I've been excited too. Steven asked me and I was like, really? Okay, cool. That sounds great.
Lady, or I'm gonna call you Lady G, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is, we don't just try to focus on the content creators like in big channels. We're trying to focus on other people too. And your name is known because you help other channels. And a lot of people give you praise because you help them keep their brains and their beards intact. So you're just as much as part of the community as, say, like Ords is Kashik's queen. She might be behind the scenes helping him out and supporting him, but she still deserves a spotlight because everyone does something to make another channel function. So you're just as important as anyone else.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I definitely. That was very sweet. I honestly I look at all the content creators and I'm like, oh, they're so amazing. You know, anything I can do to help and really, like, you know, it's everybody. That's the thing. Everybody, a lot of people say it, very few people do it. And my grandfather, who is one of my biggest heroes, you know, I was raised on the creed, never ask someone to do something you have either not done yourself already or would not be willing to do. And if you're going to talk the talk, you better be walking the walk. And, you know, so everybody says, hey, we need to help each other. We need to build each other up. We need to be there for one another. And so I try my best to be there for whomever I can and whenever I can. And I know that nobody gets through this life on their own. So it's you know, the fact that I'm blessed enough. He's a very wise man. Yes, he like I said, one of my heroes, and any wisdom that I have right now is likely tied to that man, because just have so much respect for him and listen to him, because just what he's gone through in his life, just, you know, can't help but respect the man, quite frankly. But I'll stop pumping up my granddad for a second. But
no.
yeah.
When you say that, when you say that about your grandfather, it's like it reminds me of my grandfather, who I absolutely idolized, because this was a man who he grew up in the Jim Crow South. He joined the Army in World War II when the Army was segregated, because he said, I want a better opportunity for myself and for my children and for my grandchildren. And he learned a lot of those lessons, and a lot of those lessons that he passed down on to me, which I absolutely will never forget. So when I hear you talk about your grandfather with such reverence and pride in your voice, that's something, you know, that I latch onto, and that's something that a lot of people really gonna latch onto, because it's very obvious that the things that he taught you, you took, you know, to heart very, very much.
And I gotta say one thing in general, it's those types of lessons that aren't around with the generations. We're seeing ranting and raving everywhere. So the fact that if you believe in hard work and it's something that is taught, and if you don't know the hard work, you can't preach knowing about it. So I can understand that. If you don't live the experience, you shouldn't be the one to talk about it. And if you're talking about it without experience, you're just a jester in a court of kings.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, it's Lorraine, I love hearing about your granddad too. Like, it's just, I don't you know, and this isn't to put anybody down or make anyone feel bad, but I honestly wouldn't be who I am today without my grandparents and you know, of course my parents, but my grandfather is, you know, I feel for the people who never got a chance to know their grandparents, because it's just truly it really truly is a blessing. And he still to this day, you know, he's still alive and kicking, thank God. And every day with him is an absolute gift. And I learn, you know, just when something else that my grandpa says, he's like, the day you stop learning is the day you die, because you always learn something new every day. And you know, when you think that this man, he couldn't possibly have anything else that he could teach me, you know, he's got something else, and you're just like, wow, like I really don't know anything. And it's just amazing.
Where was your grandfather from? Or is your
my family, my grandfather's family, was actually in Germany during World War II and had to flee to America because they got caught hiding Jews.
Damn.
So
wow.
That's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my mom's side is actually from Germany, the Chemnitz side. So that's
yeah,
that's pretty cool. The German stuff is crazy.
Yeah. But my grandpa's family, they had to flee because my family hails from the Black Forest, and they were smuggling out Jews and hiding Jews, and got caught and, you know, had to run. And then my grandmother was actually part of, I don't know how much you know about the Bolsheviks in Russia and the farmers that they brought from Germany, that whole thing. My grandmother's family fled that. They fled Bolshevik Russia. So I've got some, my family comes from, my family's definitely got an interesting history. I'm just like, man, I've done nothing in my life. Like, when I look back at kind of what they've done, and as just being who you are, I was like, oh, Grandpa, I love you. But you know, it's and then my grandpa was on the. Oh, look at that! That's great, Stephen. Yeah, but my grandpa was actually your grandpa. Yeah, that's wonderful. Your grandpa fought into that's incredible. You know, that's amazing. My grandpa was on the parallel in Korea. He was a tank mechanic over there. So yeah, I feel you on the. I've got a long service history in our family, and I think that's something that people can either what it is or you don't. It's really shocking the difference between how, like, when you hear stories from someone who's actually there, as opposed to just reading it in I don't say just, but you know what I mean? Like, reading it in a book is a lot different than hearing about it from the source.
I know exactly what you mean, because my grandfather would tell me stories. He didn't tell me everything, because he's like, there's some stuff I just do not want to remember. And he would tell me stories about being over there in World War II. And he said that, when he was in the army over there, that, this one young German boy, their family was literally starving, because of course it was like bombed into the Stone Age. His family was starving, and my grandfather was a cook. And he would come over and they would just like ask for food. And my grandfather made it a point to always give him something to take back to his family. And he wanted my grandfather to come and visit his family because of that. And I think what a lot of people have to understand then, it's like, my grandfather, was a Black Creole in Europe. And all he saw was people that were starving, that needed help. And he would always tell me stories about that. He would tell me stories about some Germans that were none too pleased that, that he was there. But hearing the type of stories that he would say, he didn't tell me about what he saw in the concentration camps that were liberated, but he told me enough to tell me not to forget that this type of thing happened.
Yeah.
Over there at all. The stories he would tell me, the stories that friends of mine I went to high school, that their grandparents would tell, and they were like, this is actually real stuff. But one of the reasons why I'm so deep into discovering my family's history, and Germany is actually part of that, is because of him, because he wanted the family history discovered and written down, because not many people talked about who was in their family at all. And it turns out that there's someone on his side of the family where they actually came from Germany to the United States, I want to say not too long after the Revolutionary War, because they were handing out land bounty to, like, if you came over here and you stayed and you worked the land for 10 years, it was yours. So a lot of Germans for, I guess, the Palatine region of Germany came to the South, because it was just like land, and if you worked it, it was yours. It was yours.
I would like to also say something in due respect. Lady Gravemaster, you say you haven't done all that your grandfather's done, but you're doing what your grandfather does. You're keeping his traditions of, like, his sayings in your life. So you're living by the way he says things. So in a way, you're still doing what he does. It might not be the same road, but you're still what's the word? You're not imitating, but you're respecting him by being what he says. And you're still yourself, but you're living that tradition of be who you are, be by what you have experienced. So that, in a way, is still doing just as much as he does, just in a different way. So you are being him as much as you are being yourself.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not just a fat joke. I also have some serious moments that throws people off. Feed me a nugget. I'm just kidding.
But speaking of moments, tell us, how did, because I know I first, quote unquote, met you when you popped up on Loki's channel, and I'm just like, isn't she the producer over on Friday Night Tights? So how did you get connected with that particular gig? Because Friday Night Tights is a huge show. It's a huge show. And I'm just like, how on earth did you get connected with that?
And do you need a producer?
Well, not right now. Nothing quite to that extent. One sec, you're gonna hear a mechanical click. There we go. No, it really was just it was Star Wars. The Force Awakens, or not? Yeah, is that the first one? See, that's how much I despise that trilogy. I've tried to block it from my mind. I didn't even go see Last Jedi in theaters because a friend came back from a deployment and was like, hey, I haven't seen this, let's watch it on Netflix, and we put it on, and within 5 minutes of the show, like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was all not good things. And I was like, man, am I the only person that hated this show? And then Last Jedi happened, and I was like, and I heard there was backlash, and I was like, oh, so everybody just took time to get to where I was, because I hated The Force Awakens, not only because of how and the fact that they killed Han Solo. Spoiler for anyone who hasn't yet seen or knew that, I guess, but the way that they just completely disrespected the Millennium Falcon, I was done after that. That was my breaking point. And I ended up finding, I typed in Last Jedi reviews, and I found Nerdrotic, and then that led me to Doomcock and Loki and all of everybody here. I didn't even have a Twitter until gosh, I think I've had it 1 year now, because what the disaster of Soy Woker was coming out, and I was like, okay, I'll follow.
I like that.
Rise of the woke walk.
Right? I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and follow Doomcock on Twitter, because he was like, follow me on Twitter, and I was like, okay, I'll get a Twitter, and then I just sort of was listening to everybody, and then Gary was like, hey, I need help, and I was like, well, I like helping people, and I'm fairly organized, so I'll help him out to, like, you know, see if he likes my resume, and sent it in, and he didn't see it. Didn't know it was there, because his email is insane, and then I would just, like, super chat him. I'd be like, Gary, you need a producer. He's like, yes, I know, and I know you guys probably saw that on his live streams and stuff too. He's like, this is why I need a producer. And so I just sort of picked up that joke. I was like, Gary, this is why you need a producer, but I would super chat that at him.
Can I cut you off quickly, lady? Sure. Because I saw that, and you know what that caused? That made me offer to Lorena. Your super chat doing that is what I reached out to Lorena for. That day, I think, is the same day I reached out to Lorena to say she needs a producer. You actually gave me that drive. You gave me that drive.
You did.
That's awesome.
Because no joke, he's just like, Lorena, you need an assistant. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I do. You want to do that?
and so pretty much you, in a way, gave me the same kick in the balls. Well, not literally, to do what you do with a super chat. And honestly, like, thank you.
You're welcome. I had no idea. I'm glad that I was able to get Lorena the help that she needs, because, you know, we
white
want her to be
slavery.
successful.
Thanks a lot.
There you go.
We call it indentured servitude.
I am not
indentured servitude.
Yes, we got
that appropriation.
Yeah, that's so cool. I had no idea. Well, I was
saving it when I could actually tell you, because I think you deserve to hear it from the voice than just another sub up, you know what I mean? Because I think people need to hear the recognition. It's not a simp thing. I'm literally being the truth. I've been saving it, so when you actually said yes, I'm like, I get to finally tell her.
I had no idea. Yeah, like, you know, that's just one of those things you never know. You never really know what the effect that your actions will have on someone else. That's amazing. I'm so happy that, you know, you were able to find a way, and that I was in any way helpful with that. That's so humbling. Thank you.
We're all connected, as everyone says. We rise together, and it takes one person just to kickstart another. So you are just as effective as Nerdrotic when on a show. You don't realize that you all have the same potential of making someone else reach out and be something better.
Exactly. Kind of like amazing. To tag on to that, because I'm on toxic femininity. So recently I got quote unquote promoted to like co-producer on Toxic Femme, and the first thing I'm thinking of is I got to take notes about what Lady Gravemaster does. Because literally when I hear producer, it's like you're the first name that like pops into my mind, because I'm just like, Friday Night Tights, that show, I want to say, I think the highest number of viewers I've seen is like around 5,000. I can't even wrap my head around that. 5,000 viewers. And that show is without a doubt, it's absolutely seamless. So one of the questions that I want to ask you is like, what's your typical preparation that you do from the show? I mean, from inception of topics down to we're going live.
Well, first things first is, just let everybody, the thing that I emphasize, let everybody be themselves. Because it's very much Gary's baby. It's very much Gary's show. And, it's just been able to grow and with the co-production with Geeks and Gamers, like Jeremy is Jeremy, and he has this really powerful just way to be like, all right, we're gonna cut the bullshit and we're gonna just do this if it comes down to it. And I'm like, yeah, we can, and that works. And so it's really working together and letting everybody be themselves. And when it comes to topics, like some stuff we can plan out in advance, kind of like how our Christmas show is going to be we say 2 hours. I will see if I can actually hold it to 2 hours. It is Christmas Day.
That's true, it is. It is.
So I will do everything I can to keep it at that 2 hour mark. But what it really comes down to is knowing the knowledge base of everybody on the panel, like what they're comfortable with. Because I mean, if it's Star Wars, like Ryan can take it and run. You know what I mean? He's just incredibly gifted when it comes to that kind of stuff. And then you
call Ryan the baby Yoda of FNT.
Yes, that's brilliant. I mean, he was made Baby Yoda last night, so
I know.
Now it's now it's permanent. It is Perry Chand permanent. But really, it's and then after that, it's figuring out sort of what's happened in the week, not just in pop culture, but other stuff going on. There's lots of stuff happening, not just in the US, but in the world, and providing some escapism from it. And, knowing who the guest is going to be, how we can sort of work around their expertise and make it sort of mesh with the panel. And it's been really interesting because we've had everyone from, Carrie from Unsafe Space to It's a Gundam last week. That was incredible. And we've got Just Some Guy for the New Year's Day show. And it's all these different guests, and it's getting to know those people and what they bring and who they are, so that you can really help build any bridges that are necessary so that it does feel seamless. Like, we try to make it as seamless as possible. And for the most part, I mean, like when we had Dan Vask on, I think that everybody was just like really enjoying his music and that kind of escapism. And then you've got Gundam on, who just made it funny and hilarious and easy. And then if you have someone like Critical Drinker on, he just makes everybody... Yeah, he just makes everybody have a good time, and so after we figure out, we plan the guests out pretty far in advance, and once we've got that down, I can start doing some research, and then, we have, especially if there's any big topics that break, the big one for yesterday was when Warner Brothers announced how they were going to screw theaters over. And,
oh yeah.
and so that was sort of the big takeaway for last night. And it's finding those 2 or 3 bigger topics making them work in the context of the panel and who the guest is, and then finding some smaller things. But honestly, the guys do all the hard work. That's all them. The show isn't scripted. I of course make sure that Gary has access to articles and stuff, and I'll be digging stuff up backstage a lot if he needs it or if something comes up. And it's all the guys. It's not a scripted show. They just take it and run. It's obviously not scripted because I wouldn't have had Az shave his face.
Speaking of which, Lady G, I didn't mean to cut you off anything, but I had a question that I've been wanting to ask for a while. It's nothing personal. I'm not putting you on the spot, but how much effort and work do you go into getting your guests for the show? I know it for me, like trying to do this stuff, like just reaching out to people. I know you're not always going to get a yes right away. You're not always going to get a no right away. But how hard is the effort on trying to get them to at least respond, coming from another producer's air quotes from my point of view? Because I'd be a fat producer, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know if this is what you want to hear, but it depends on the guest, honestly. Some guests are really excited. They're like, absolutely, I can't wait. Like, that'd be amazing. I've wanted to be on for a while. And then, other guests, it takes time because there's a lot of people that are trying to get to them. And, there's a lot of people that are talking to them and they've got their own schedules and busy lives. And, for quite a few people, asking them to take a chunk out of their, depending on where they're at in the world, their Friday night or their Saturday morning, it can be pretty challenging. And so you just have to be patient and, don't be too overzealous, but make sure that you keep that line of communication open and, you just keep asking. And if the opportunity ever presents itself where maybe you do get that one-on-one with them or they give you a no, just you take it with grace and you be respectful and be like, well, you just, you're like, oh, well, I appreciate you getting back to me. Offer stands anytime. Just let me know and we can figure it out. And that's actually, that's part of how we were able to get Dan Vask on, because he's got an insane schedule. He just wow. He's crazy busy, and I was like, oh well, will this Saturday or will this Friday work? And he's like, oh, like maybe this one will be better. And I'm like, okay. And then it took a while to get to Carrie from Unsafe Space as well. Not the longest or anything that I've ever waited, of course, but she's that, you want to talk impressive women, god dang, like that. That woman, she's amazing. And
yes.
And so, it's all about finding out what works for the guest, because the panel is pretty, I love the guys and they're pretty, they are, man, they can make, I think they could probably make a toaster work. Maybe that'll be the Christmas Day guest. We'll just put a toaster right there.
But I can agree with that, because you have to realize that it might be the show you're asking, but you have to work around the guest schedule because you're trying to have them give their time to you. So you can't look at it from an entitled point of view. You have to look at it like you are asking as not like as a favor, but hoping they see you as someone wanting to get to know them without trying to put them on the spot. And that's the biggest part, especially when it comes to such informal things like on Twitter or any kind of social media platform, because you don't see the facial expressions. And the last thing you want to do is send like a video of your face going, you want to be on my show? And you look like some guy who lives in their bushes. You don't want to go to that extent. So I can respect that. And I can agree. It is hard, and a no is always going to happen as well as a yes might happen. But I need to know your routine. How many times do I send them a message going, do you want to be on the show? Do you want to be on the show? Do you want to be on the show? Do I do it like are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yes, every 10 seconds, just like a toddler, every 10 seconds. There we go.
I don't have that much energy. How much? No, my sugar levels aren't that high.
Oh, no toddler energy? Oh, then it's a fail. No, I'm just kidding.
Because they are bottom.
Look, my forklift
aren't they though? Oh, I tell people, like, I'll look at like 3 and 4 year olds just running and screaming, and for like hours they'll just keep going. And I was like, man, if you could bottle like a 10th of that energy, you'd be a millionaire. You'd never stop. Like you would go forever. But yeah, no, my honestly, I try not to be too invasive or overzealous when it comes to asking, because that's, you don't want to ask too infrequently, but you also don't want to push too far. And so I guess a tip that I can offer to you would be, yeah, just the tip. When you ask, something that I've learned through trial and error, link them a clip to what you're offering. Show them what you're doing. Show them what you have to offer, and be like, maybe if it's someone that you're really excited about, maybe every 2 to 3 weeks you try and reach out, and just be like, but if you get something really exciting or something you want to share, just be like, hey, just reaching out again, this is something that we covered. I know that you're really invested in this type of genre or this type of culture, and we'd love to have just a little conversation with you about it, and kind of pick your brain on it, and really hear what you have to say. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's just part of life.
I agree, and I appreciate you actually giving me that honest answer.
Awesome tip, like a promo reel, kind of, so to speak.
Kind of, yeah. It's
Please don't fire me.
Oh, that tip came from someone much smarter than me, and who's been doing this much longer than I have. And I was like, it's so simple and yet so genius. And most genius ideas really are just that simple.
Absolutely.
Because can you say, as soon as you start overthinking it, it kind of loses the whole importance of what you're trying to do, because you start focusing on the answer rather than understanding the person you're asking.
Exactly. I saw it actually on Carrie's. Carrie's got a video on her channel on Unsafe Space. I'm pretty sure it's where I saw it, or it may have actually been a link from one of her videos. But it said, "Fall in love with the question, not the process," and it was a Jordan Peterson clip. And I can't remember if it's on her channel or if it was just, the next one in the queue after a video of hers that I watched. But I was like, yeah, it was fall in love with the process, not the answer. And I was like, that's so true, because people get so obsessed with the end goal that they lose sight of the actual, like, the here, the now, and what it, like, everything that they're going to accomplish on the way there. And it was really insightful and enlightening. So yeah,
I appreciate that answer. I absolutely really do. Thank you.
Oh, welcome.
Just he's probably gonna get annoyed that I bring this up, but
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Awesome job.
I hate compliments.
Like, getting guests for the show. I mean, seriously, because I am such a control freak. So the fact that I'm just like, okay, I need an assistant, and
never
just absolutely
control freak. No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Crazy. I've been getting a lot of help for that particular problem. But he is so awesome at, like, getting guests. He'll be like, I got this person. And I remember the day that he told me that he got Az. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you got who now? And I'm like, wow. I was just freaking stunned. So I'm just like, dude, keep doing what you're doing.
Took a lot of super
bring up
chat.
Stuff that I wouldn't even think about. But however you did it, dude.
Literally, I'll tell you the story, because I don't know if Gary told you this, Lady G, at all, but I would be in different parts of their streams, even when they were doing, like, the comic book bagging and boarding, and I'd be like, can you guys just stroke your beards at a medium pace, please? Can you just do that? Maybe a super chat. Then I'd be in another chant. Can you stroke your beard then? And even Gary was like, bro, I hope you're not getting off on this shit.
Yes, I remember that one.
I was like, no. I love, like, as I used to watch when it came to when he was doing the WoW videos, and I even went farther down the rabbit hole to his Loot Crate stuff.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I was starting to get history. So I go all out, especially because they're not like just role models in a way. But I know they don't like being called celebrities, but they have been the main, like, role model of escapism for especially 2020. And they bring not like the way you help them I'm using air quotes, help them because they always go off the rails. They maintain a point of sanity to make people check whether or not they think they're losing it or everyone else around them is losing it. And that balance is so... It's like being in a hurricane holding onto a toothpick because everyone's yelling, but you don't know if your stability is strong enough to continually fight that yelling. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. It's the great paradox because everybody thinks their idea is a good idea until they realize it's not a good idea. And some people get to that realization faster and some don't. And it's I think honestly, when it comes down to am I going crazy or am I not, you just got to look at that toothpick and see where it's planted and be like, oh, is the toothpick actually in the ground or am I holding on to it in the center of the cyclone?
Technically, it's in Ryan Johnson's ass, but I just don't usually tell people that because I wanted to stick somewhere where it has a lot of fucking holes. So I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh! No. Speaking of funny, because it leads into my next question. One of the funniest freaking things that I saw on Friday Night Tights was when I think Odin's mic started roboting, and since it was live, the guys were like, oh, say this, say this, say this. And it was freaking hysterical. It's just how they went and ran with it. So what in your mind, exclusive of this one, is the most hilarious blooper you've had happen on Friday Night Tights?
Not including last night.
Yeah, not including last night.
Most hilarious blooper. When I would have to say that it was probably when Gary thought that he turned the mic off and didn't when we were doing the outro, and then he was like, oh, they can still hear us. It's like we were talking and I asked Az if he was gonna go have a nice poop.
Oh, that is awesome. Because you should start compiling those as a blooper reel, and you can actually put that on the daily.
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember which FNT it was, but I know that I turned every shade of red that there ever was, and he's like, because Gary usually brings me from backstage into studio, and after we've closed out and nobody can hear us, and I'll be like, hey guys, great job, y'all sucked, but no, it's but as he had talked earlier about how he had to go to the potty, and he said that live on stream. And so then, Gary takes us out, and I was like, so Az, you gonna go have a nice poo-poo in the potty? And Az is like, yeah, I think I will. And then Gary's like, by the way, they can still hear us. I was like, Gary! I was like, so you're telling me right now that 4,000 people just heard me ask Az if he's gonna go to the potty? And Gary's like, yep, and they just heard you repeat it. And I was like, Lord in heaven, help me.
That's where you got to soundbite it over, like that's the distant sound of something dropping in water or the toilet. And then you can have Az in the background just going, oh, I want to punch an old lady in the face.
Stuff like that is so funny. And the reason why it's hilarious is because even if you're just starting out on YouTube, it gives you the sense that even experienced streamers like Gary are going to do something like that.
I think it was planned.
It's
I'm just kidding.
But it's just it makes you realize that no matter how long you may have been in doing this, you're always going to do something. Like I remember Nina from the Queen's Council, she had her first live stream on Thursday, and she's like, I'm worried I'm going to screw up. I'm worried I'm going to screw up. But like, oh, don't worry, you are going to screw up, and you're going to keep screwing stuff up no matter how long you keep doing this. You're going to forget to turn your mic on. You're going to forget to add yourself to the stream, or my personal favorite, kick yourself out of your own stream so you can't end the stream.
Yep, good. Oh yeah. Oh man, and poor Gary, his internet was acting up the other day, and he's like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this. Like, I can't host, and I was like, no, we will make this work. It will happen. And
I love that.
I was like, I swear to God, if I have to call Google myself and get fiber optic cables out to your house, like, I just won't ask to see the bill ever. We'll just say we never got it. Never got that bill. Sorry. No, but yeah, it's just crazy stuff, and everybody's like, oh, we're on Gary time, but I just wish, and other YouTubers, they I know they feel Gary's pain, but like, it'll be, oh, StreamYards is not working. It's simply just like it's glitching out, or it's not being compatible for some reason, and then it's my internet is down, and then it's, oh look, YouTube just changed something and deleted the entire live stream that I had getting prepped ready to go. And so it's just it's it's all stuff that can happen, and how to fix it, but it eats up that time. And I know everybody knows that Gary works really, really hard, but I really wish they knew just how hard he really did work. He really does work, because he does so much for everybody and really asks for nothing in return, and is just amazing.
He really does. Go ahead, Steven.
Can I ask you a favor, Lady G?
Sure.
Can you, like, once in a while just kick Gary in the ass and tell him to remember that he still has to come first before his viewers and channel, because reality is more important than a screen. And I know you probably do that, but everyone needs to hear that.
Oh, Mrs. Nerdrotic, I've no doubt Mrs. Nerdrotic has got that on lock, and he does.
I feel like she has a taser named just that. Remember us.
He's that is. I mean, you want to talk other strong women, Mrs. Nerdrotic, and I know that Gary's he shared some stuff on stream about everything they've gone through this year, her in particular, and it's just, it's heartbreaking, and just, it's also inspiring that she never stops, she just keeps going.
She just seems relentless, and I love it. It's just like,
absolutely,
California's not going to keep me down. No circumstances is going to keep me down. We're still going to keep pushing, no matter what, no matter what happens. And it was so sad to hear about the passing of her father. It was so hard to hear that. It was upsetting.
Yeah.
But she just keeps pushing. And to go back to Gary. Gary, again, was one of those people who I started seeing his videos because of the crap that happened with The Last Jedi. I managed to see that, like, on what the frick was it? I think it was on pay-per-view, because I didn't see it live in the theaters. I thought it was a one-off, and I'm watching it at home, and it's like it keeps getting worse, and I'm like trying to fast forward. I'm like, crap, this thing is awful. It's never gonna freaking end. And I didn't look at anything Star Wars. And then on YouTube, I see videos come up. I just happened to look, and Gary's was one of those that popped up. And it's like, I loved his style. I loved how he presented things. I was totally envious of all the toys he had in his room. And he's one of those YouTubers that I started looking up to very, very early on, and was watching his videos. And then I was on a stream with Tom, I think for his birthday, and he brought Gary on. And then I was on the same stream, and I'm like, I have to admit this. I had the freaking biggest fangirl moment.
So
I'm like, Gary, I've watched a lot of your videos, and I'm so excited to be to stream with you. He's like, yeah, I've watched some of yours too. I'm like, this is what I just.
Gary's the wizard of YouTube. I will announce it right here. He watches everyone. Gary knows all. He watches everyone.
That just like threw me when he told me. He's like, yeah, I was watching an interview you did with Eris of Chaos. I'm like, what?
Yeah. he's sneaky too, because he doesn't even have to say that. Did I already tell the story about the mayhem thing when we were recording?
We weren't recording, so let's go with this.
I don't know if you watched the Merry Mayhem. We were premiering the second one a couple of days ago, and we got to the part, because when we were recording, he decided to follow me on Twitter, And during the second part of that video, you can hear me freak out and go, "Oh my God," and you hear banging. And everyone's like, "What happened, Steven? What happened?" I'm like, "Gary just followed me on Twitter." And it was like Superman, like signing my baseball in a way, because I was like, "Oh my God." And then, Gary's watching this episode because he goes through his DMs on Twitter and likes a picture that I sent to him 4 months ago. And all I can hear is, I love you, but you're a dick. Because I didn't want to reply either, and I know that's what he did. I'm like, you bastard, and it was perfect because people are like making fun of it online.
Yeah, it was hilarious, but I had to laugh because when Gary followed me on Twitter, that freaking made my day. I was just like flipping out because I'm like hardly anybody, and you just follow me. But Gary is so good at just whatever he can do for channels. It's like he does. Like I remember, like he had shouted me out on Friday Night Tights once, and I was like super shocked at that. And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to give you another one the next week." Well, it didn't happen the next week, and I'm like, everything's busy. There's a whole lot of people. No worries about it. And then the week after, I wake up on a Saturday to this screaming message from Christy saying, "Gary shouted you out on Friday night. You need to wake up." She's dead ass asleep. I know, but I have to try to get her up. I'm like, well, what the heck? Gary shouted you out again. And I go and look at my channel, and it's like over 1,000 like subs. And I was just like, the fact that you would do that for like the smallest of channels, it's just amazing how much he just wants to reach out to everyone, help everyone, as much as he can. And that's like something that I try to capture and pass on, especially with shows like this, where I just kind of like just try to get everybody on that I can, and to like give them exposure, and to just and to just have fun, because he's a beloved figure in the fandom, and just to bring you on as like the person behind getting all that together, it's like the icing on the cake for me.
It's not just that though. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again. But it's not just that. It's also the same thing. He can shout us out, but he also has the very smart point to that. I can shout you out as much as you want. I can shout any channel as much as I want. But if you aren't going to keep that channel going, then that shout out means nothing.
That's a very good point. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And people ask me, like, when are you gonna drop your next video? When are you gonna drop your next video? And I'm like, guys, I promise I have some in the queue, but right now, especially with everything going on, my priority first and foremost is gonna be, there's my 3. And but the cuties thing was something. Those are the one in the middle is kind of more what I will be focusing on moving forward, but the cuties stuff was just not anything that I could stay quiet on. It's something, especially as a mother myself, and for people to tell me that, oh, you're not, that, like, they weren't being sexualized in that movie, they weren't, exactly, like, you're making straw man arguments. You're making straw man's arguments. The sexualization is coming from your brain. You're the one sexualizing them. And I was like, listen here.
No, the close-ups are. You're a liar.
Yeah. I don't know who you think you are speaking to, but I have a brain, and I have a soul. And the two combined let me know that this trash isn't nuance. It isn't trying to send a message or a warning. It is self-aggrandizing.
Absolutely.
It's made for monsters by monsters. And if anyone says otherwise, you need to check yourself, because your whole opinion is wrong.
And here's the other thing. Go ahead, Lady Gravemaster.
No, I was just gonna say, and I said you're 100% right. And I know that there's been some. The biggest split that I've heard, particularly in the fandom, is, well, art needs room to breathe. You can't stifle art.
No, that's not art. That's Showgirls Light. That is not art.
This is not art. When you are exploiting a vulnerable group, very vulnerable, the most vulnerable and impressionist among us, young children, especially girls. And you're not doing it as a cautionary tale. You are doing it to please a certain segment that you do not have the guts to come out and say that's what you were doing. Because I remember we talked about this on toxic femininity, and at the time I was the only person who had Netflix on the panel. I wound up dropping Netflix and explicitly told them that this is the reason that I was dropping it. I said, yeah, I watched this film twice. Didn't want to, but I want to watch it because I want to tell the truth about this film. And if people come up to me with crap, half-ass arguments, I can argue back about it, and broke it down point by point. And you know, we still had fools that would come in the comments and say, oh, well, you didn't watch the film. Yes, I watched the whole entire film. And it was exploitive from the beginning to the freaking end. You had this poor child, impression child, pretty much get away with murder. You want to say, I'll put it completely blank. Pretty much that's what she got away with. And without consequences, no consequences whatsoever. And you're going to sit there and tell me that this should be allowed to be out there and exist just because you do not want to demonize a quote unquote person of color, which again, bigotry of low expectations. That's why you want to give it a pass to do it. And no, it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly at all.
I like to add that too. I know we're focusing on that, but like I didn't even need to. Like the first thing I did is I did a skim through. Okay, like I was fast forwarding to see what people were talking about. And honestly, the scenes that everyone's trying to say is art, it's not art. If it makes you stop and you're going, what the fuck is this? That's not art. That's not trying to send a message. Like I've seen movies and documentaries that send messages. This was not. There was if you wanted to go in and make a certain point, you go in and you make a counter of every time they did a close up of things that was not appropriate, and it was overly done. It wasn't there to send a message. It wasn't even from a perspective of saying this is nasty. The whole thing itself was nasty, and I didn't even need to watch the whole thing. When I did watch the whole thing, I couldn't even feel comfortable with myself afterwards because it was a point of thing going, how is this a film? Because it wasn't a film.
No, it wasn't. And the thing that one of the other things that pissed me off is the fact that they use this and then use the excuse of, oh, well, you know, it comes from a director who's a person of color. Screw that.
That doesn't mean
that's
shit.
That's not an excuse. So I'm really glad, Lady Gravemaster, that you blew this up as much as you did, because I think your post, I think, was the first thing that I'd actually heard about this, how it popped on, you know, how it popped onto my radar. And I said, let me go and check this out and see what it's all about. So I am very glad that you brought that up.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that too. Honestly, I you know, this isn't I even say it in that first video. I said this is not the first video I wanted to do. I wanted to do something fun and lighthearted and, you know, just kind of, you know, be sort of goofy. And this happened and I was like, there's no I will admit I've never watched the show because I didn't want to. I've seen clips and that was more than I honestly could stomach. It was so degrading. And these girls are going to grow up with this in their repertoire forever. And I was like, who thought this was like, I don't care if she is a female director of color from, you know, who's trying to talk about her own. First it was her own experience, and then it was, well, she saw all these girls around town dancing like this, and so that's where she got the, like, she's very inconsistent about the actual and I use that word sardonically, inspiration for this film. And she's like, you know, and I really wanted to warn against the dangers of over sexualizing our children. Okay, do a documentary. But you didn't do a documentary. No. You did this. You sensationalized and
you gave them a platform to say that it's okay because as long as you call it art, I can be a creepy mother goddamn bed.
I'm going to have to get that anyway.
I was no, you're fine. And I was so livid, and I canceled my Netflix that day. Canceled it. Told them that I said, remove this movie or I'm never coming back. And it was so I don't consider myself a cancel cultist, because that's generally the cancel culture comes from a place of emotion, not really morality per se. It's just, oh, this made me feel bad, or this doesn't have what I like in it. So, or you said something I don't agree with, so you have to be canceled. That's not what this was. This is an obvious moral, absolute, like, you have to have the conviction of your morality. And Netflix had some pretty good stuff on it. Like, I really liked The Crown, The Witcher. Oh my gosh, Tortuga, here I come. No, just kidding. But am I? But you had some shows on there that were worth it, that were pretty decent. Right. And I was like, look, you've completely, absolutely 100% undermined your, like, this is unacceptable. Remove it or I'm not coming back. And I actually shared a tweet a couple days ago because Netflix, because I had notifications up on my phone and my profile name was Mommy, and it said, "Mommy, come back for $8.99 today. We have 295 new movies and shows that you like." And I took a screenshot and I was like, never Netflix. I went to PureFlix after that. It's a Christian streaming site, but it's amazing. Yeah, it's got, it's definitely got the Hallmark movies on there, but it's got some great historical stuff. Like, I really thoroughly enjoy it. And it's got a nostalgia TV thing, so it's got like Bewitched and Cheers and MASH. Like, it's just got great stuff on there. Ooh. The Andy Griffith Show.
Check that out, because I've seen promos for it and I just didn't get around to it. So that's a good one. Definitely have to check that out.
Definitely. And I think, yeah, it's great that it's there for sure. And I think probably the most heartening comment, I mean, I know I only have 3 videos and I swear I am working on more, but like I said, with everything, especially because I am also growing as a producer, my main focus has to be Gary and the channel, and helping anybody else that needs that assistance in any way that I can. But I had a comment, someone dropped it, and they said, thank you so much. I thought I was going crazy because my family was telling me that this was a beautiful piece of art. And I canceled my Netflix, but I can't get my mom or my sister to do it. And they said that, if I don't like it, just don't watch it. And, I sort of took that to, I sort of took that to heart. And, that it used to very much be, I think, I can speak for myself, but I'm sure you guys are like this too. I'm very much, I will not try and control your life as long as you don't try and control mine. Let me live my life my way. I'll let you live your life your way. I'll continue to, espouse my beliefs. I'm not going to tell anyone you have to believe it, but be like, hey, this is me, cut and dry. This is what I think. This is what I believe. And, continue living. And I used to be very much, oh, I don't like it, I'll just turn it off and walk away. This SJW invasion has destroyed that possibility, quite frankly, because you can't just turn it off and walk away, because now, oh, well, if you don't watch it, you're racist. If you don't watch it, you're sexist. You're an ist or a phobe, or you have I was told that I have internalized misogyny.
I've had someone say that, and I said, "What the flip does that mean?"
Yeah.
It's either internalized misogyny or you're self-hating. I'm like, both of them are stupid. You're gonna have to come up with something better than that.
Be like, oh, let me get this straight, because I don't hate all white men or all men in general. I hate myself. Interesting. Yeah. That's a new theory. The absence of hate is proof of hate. Oh, okay.
It makes no sense.
My favorite is when you actually try to have a debate discussion and you use logic, and rather than them giving logic back, they just block you.
No,
anything that goes against their narrative, it's like taking down a statue. When was going on during this year, they try to pull down the statue because if we remove the statue, it removes the history. No. History is there for one reason. to learn from our mistakes so we don't repeat them. And if
Yep.
you want to go about and just change it because you're uncomfortable with it, it's because you're uncomfortable with yourself and your point of views. It's your insecurities. It's your personal bias that is affecting how you're seeing everyone else. So you're throwing it at everyone else because you don't like something about yourself. So why should everyone have to deal with your insecurity?
Here's the thing. They do not. They think that they have the right to not be offended. And that does not exist. That does not exist. So when you throw logic at them, which is like kryptonite, they call you an istinophobe, or they shut down conversation. Because they don't feel that they should have the right to, be offended. Usually if something offends people, are like, whatever, because offense is not something that's given. Offense is something that you take. So if you take offense from that, that's on you. I've seen plenty of stuff that's out there that, offends me. I either don't pay attention, I won't respond to it, or if I need to say something, I'll just, say my piece and put it out there. But I really am sick and tired of these SJWs who come out here, who decide that they want a virtue signal, who decide that they want to be the savior of quote unquote people of color. I said, I didn't ask you to be a savior. I already have one. That's Jesus Christ. I don't need you. Amen. And then they freak out and, and that's the thing. And that's kind of like, God, what happened with the Black Panther 2 actress? Because Stephen had just told me she got off of Twitter because, God forbid, and I tell people, if you are any kind of minority, SJWs love to kiss your ass until you disagree with them. Then that protected status goes away, and they feel free to call you every single name in the freaking book. And
I've had people
disgusting.
I've actually had a debate with someone to the point where they blocked me because I was like, they got confused what stereotype and racism was, and they're trying to tell me that there's no racism against the white community. I'm like, that's bullcrap. You can choose to hate whoever you want. It's still racist, and they're trying to confuse they're trying to compare the stereotype of eating chicken to that's racism. And I'm like, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about, do you?
You've never been to the South. My goodness. No. If Popeyes went out of business, everyone in the South, no matter what race you are, we're going to have problems.
Big problems. Lord in heaven. Yeah, oh, look at that. Look, that's me.
That's you.
Well, thank you. So I have I've got a military background. I won't delve too much into it, but I will tell you right now, you'll never meet the most non-racist people with the most racist jokes, and everybody laughs, and it's like you're just like, whoa, like that's funny. Can I now I know for a fact that if you took some of my foxhole buddies and you put them in the middle of a restaurant and they were making those same jokes amongst each other, there would be Twitter videos and there would be outrage, and it was like, and you have every color of the rainbow, every gender, we're all sitting there just laughing and having a great time. And at one point, my buddy who was from he was born in Nigeria, came to America. He was getting his citizenship through the military because there is that option, like if you serve for so long and whatnot, that's a path to citizenship, right? And he was like, well, about 2 weeks I'll be an American man. And then he looks at me and he's like, does that mean I can tell you to go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich now? And I died laughing. I was like,
America.
I was like, yeah, all you gotta do is ask. I said, but you should probably ask permission from my husband, because this was when the whole, if you're not a feminist, you just listen to whatever your husband tells you to do. And so I was like, oh, you better ask my husband permission first, though, because I can't do anything unless he tells me to, because I have no brain to think for myself. So, it's just, huh?
Crazy. I just wanted to add, did you hear now it's now misogynistic to work out at a gym if you're a man. You're no longer allowed to lift weights because it's a trait of misogyny. Yeah, this was an actual post.
What?
Yeah. I got told.
My behind. Go ahead.
Anyway. I had to. Oh yeah, no, I've heard that because I got told that my had I ever considered my working out was intimidating the other people who didn't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was like, so they can. I was like, well, they can go work out too. And I was like, just like if the church kept sinners out, the pews would be empty, and if the gym kept fat people out, the gym would be empty. Like, that's why you have the gym, to get healthy. Like, if unhealthy people didn't go to the gym, there'd be no gym.
Exactly. Can I just say, it's just like, someone's self-esteem is not your problem.
Nope.
And that seems to be what all of this seems to, stem from. Like, don't do this because you don't want to, fat shame people. You don't want to make other people feel bad. It's like other people's self-esteem and problem is not your problem. Whatever happened to you, do things to improve yourself. And if people see that, they're either like, okay, cool, that's inspiring. No, I'm not going to do that, and just go and mind your own business. But now they want to go and shame people, or attempt to shame people. I should put it that way.
It's projection. It's like they don't want to go to the gym to make themselves look better, but then all of a sudden they think they have the voice to talk for every other fat person who can't put down a Twinkie. Like, you shouldn't do that because I don't want to do that, but it's your fault for making yourselves look too good. Yep. It honestly, it's like these people, no offense, are like the movie Batteries Not Included, except it's brains not included. They're just running around like lemmings, hollow head, and they're afraid if they get close to the edge, they're gonna get knocked over like Humpty Dumpty. It's like it's not even coddling at this point. It's like, oh, Jimmy, put on your helmet, you might fall down the pillow.
Or you need instructions for how to not eat fried turkey, when we all knew how to do that. But Lady Gravemaster, that's why it's so cool that you guys had Carrie on, who I don't think I'd ever heard of her before. And she was talking about, SJWs and that whole movement. And it's like, it's almost like you can't escape from it. And the part that I got last night that really, really blew my mind was how that's invading like the recovery movement.
Yes.
I almost had to slam the brakes on my car. I'm like, is there nothing sacred? Is there nothing sacred anymore with these people?
Like,
no, yeah.
Like the whole thing, if you misgender or misuse of a pronoun, you can go to jail. What do we get to do? Walk around with goddamn name tags? Hi, I'm with he, them. Hi, Howard. My genitals are in my purse with Velcro. Like, who
I don't have that kind of time or patience. Shoot, let me know what you want to be called, and that's what I will call you.
Exactly. Like, if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, if you want to talk and be like, hey, I prefer, like, make me a sandwich. Like, would you mind calling me this? It's no different than when you introduce yourself and they're like, oh, hi, my name's Henry, but my friends call me Hank, and so
exactly.
It's like, oh, hi, if I'm meeting you and you identify as whatever it may be, introduce yourself as such. Just be like, we'll use GameStop ma'am. If she walked up and was like, be like, hi, I'm Bethany. I'd be like, well, hi, Bethany. Nice to meet you. I of course would make some adjustments in my brain, and that would be that. Because they let me know what their name is and what they want to be called. Like, okay, moving on. Because we are adults with, brains.
They're not adults.
I know, and so, but now, honestly, Jordan Peterson made an when you started to try and compel my speech, that is when I had a problem. Didn't care. If this is how you choose to live your life, go ahead and live it. We all got to stand in front of the big guy one day. I'm not gonna go over there and be like, well, Like I said, I'll continue to espouse my beliefs and whatnot. And I think that's they blew past tolerance into acceptance, into absolute, like, oh gosh, I can't think of the term. No, it's they went from tolerance to acceptance to zero tolerance of different opinion.
Absolutely. It's like I've told someone, if someone misgenders you, there's really no reason for you to fly off the handle and show your ass. And yes, I did say that. You just correct them and say, no, I'd like to be called X, Y, and Z. And that's all you have to do. And most rational people will say, okay, I'm sorry. This is how I'll address you from now on, because that's just common courtesy to do. But don't go waving this flag of intolerance just because someone made an innocent mistake, just because someone disagrees with you, just because they disagree with you doesn't make them an hysterophobe and whatever. And maybe it's you that needs to adjust your attitude about that.
But that's the thing now. Even now with that istphobe and ism stuff being thrown around, those words or those attachments to words have literally lost the meaning they were to be. It was supposed to be a harsh word. It no longer means anything. It's like it's like throwing rice at a wedding. They no longer mean anything except they're for decoration. And it's now, you can tell companies are giving into stupidity of that, and they're not even understanding the meaning is now lost, and they just look like shills.
Yep.
It's mind-boggling, because I think the three of us can agree here. We were all raised with a certain thing. You see someone, or you see this person, depending on their age, you would hold the door first out of respect. You don't know them. It's a common decency of first time meeting respect. How are you doing? What is your name? Hi, how are you? Handshake. Grab them by the whatever, depending on who you are. I'm not making the joke there. But what I'm saying is that's a common decency of how everyone was raised. We don't go around with a name tag. We don't go around with our vowels or Webster's dictionary coming out of our ass. We are there for one reason: to deal as a human race and as a society. We don't care who you are, what you have in the back of your truck.
Dang,
like Lady
Steven,
Gravemaster's
how much of this am I going to have to bleep out?
I'm sorry.
Monetize now, dude.
Now you gotta do some work. I'm sorry. Part two, you'll break it up. But I'm not trying to swear. What I'm trying to say.
I have to laugh because Midnight's Edge. I'm sorry to do the segue, but it's funny. Midnight's Edge. Okay, they were playing back some video, I guess, from a previous recording, and Tom was talking, and I kept hearing these bleeps. I'm like, when did they start doing that?
I do apologize. I'm getting kind of overly enveloped with this, but it's like, at the end of the day, everyone on this planet is one thing, part of the human race.
Exactly.
That's all that matters. And eventually someone's going to come after that and pick it apart. Well, why is it the human race? Where's the human race? Like that doesn't matter. It's humanity. We are human. It doesn't matter if you're man or woman. We're humans. And that is the baseline. And if you have a problem with that, then you have no idea how to deal with logic of everyone around you, and you are just in a chamber of your own fart-smelling echo.
Oh Lord, that sounds like an episode from South Park.
But, I do apologize, but that's my adamant thing, man. Just treat the person the way you want to be treated.
And I think that's exactly what it comes down to. You want to treat people
with
common courtesy, and I think that's something that's definitely being lost, especially on the garbage fire known as Twitter. Like I've told people, I've been on Twitter for 10 years. It's like the most likely cantina. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to have, some kind of presence there. But it's interesting how Twitter went from basically all my fun and crazy friends are here saying all kinds of fun and crazy stuff to now when you log on, you have to see the propaganda that they're throwing up there in everybody's face. And people are tired of it.
Absolutely.
I'd like to apologize to both you two if I was out of place or rude or disrespectful, even to the people listening to this later on. I don't take me as being ignorant. I'm just sick of people demanding rather than just living. And I do apologize about that.
I think that also dovetails into what's gone on with our favorite, pop culture topics, especially with Star Trek, Star Wars. I don't watch it, but Doctor Who, all of that, because they've gone from telling a story within escapism that, maybe related to a heavy topic, but they've done a treatment that kind of makes you think about it, but not
Mhm.
beat you over the head with it, to now it's all about the agenda. We will keep pushing to the agenda. To hell with any true storytelling, the hell with respecting any lore before us, and to hell with you fans that like that old stuff, because you don't matter. And people have been fed up, and people are walking away. They're pulling their money, they're walking away from it. I mean, the theaters are, some of them are open, but who's going to see what's there? Not interested. Not interested. And they know this.
I could also have to give this the be the producer ass at the moment, but we were at the 125 mark, and I know I don't want to keep both Lady Gravemaster and
That's
Reina
true.
to
That's
call,
true.
but
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you, but will you come back?
I don't know when, but I would
It doesn't
love
have
to.
to be
Yeah.
right away, but we would like to actually have a follow-up. We say this with all our guests because honestly, I think you have a lot more to share, and I think we would like to get to know more about you. That doesn't have to deal with. Honestly, I would like to hear more about your Gramps. That's my main concern.
You know, we just bring you on, and this is what the show is like. It's for people to get to know, who you are and stuff that you're interested in. And, just let us know your schedule, and we would love to bring you back. It's all around your schedule. But before I forget,
Tell
because
Gary I
thank you,
love him.
Stephen,
Tell
for
Gary I love
giving me
him.
the
Tell
give me
Gary
the
I love him.
heads
Tell
up
Gary I
on
love him.
schedule.
I'll tell Gary you love
Lady,
him.
Okay, thank you. I sleep
is
with a
there
body
any
pillow with a beard.
Oh my God.
is there anything, Lady Gravemaster, that you would like to promote or make us aware of?
Even like veteran funds or anything like that, you would like us to like pop links
Oh,
into
you know
those
what?
channels.
Before I forget, I have to say this. Before I forget, thank you for your service. I did not serve, but one of the best jobs I ever had was stuff that I can not talk about without having to kill somebody. That helped to
I'm out.
support the war fighter. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I'm so happy that some of my tech helped you guys to do your jobs. I just wanted to leave that out there.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you. Thank you. There are much bigger heroes out there than me, but I
That's a load
really
of crap.
appreciate that. Thank
That's a
you.
load of crap. I think
Everybody
everyone is
makes
a hero in their own way because you're giving your time and effort for something that's greater. So you're all heroes. I'm not going to sing David Bowie because I suck at it.
no. Anything else you want to make us aware of, Lady Gravemaster?
Well, since you sort of opened that door, there is a program. It's a state by state program, but to my knowledge, every state has one. You can adopt a vet or an active duty member for Christmas. You can invite them over for dinner. I mean, I know that with COVID, it's harder, but there's obviously the Toys for Tots toy drive that the Marine Corps does every year. Big. I assist with that every single year. A big proponent of it. It's a wonderful program. It helps underprivileged children, underprivileged children in the local areas. It's a wonderful program. But there's too many to name. There's the Yellow Ribbon program. You've got tons of, there's tons of different ways that you can sort of check it out and help. But I would definitely look into how you can maybe help a service member who kind of like my friend from Nigeria. He had no family so he could take leave, but he had nowhere to go. And so you sort of become that foster family for that holiday. With COVID, I'm sure it's going to be something where maybe you get to maybe still have them over, but otherwise probably send them like a good Christmas dinner and maybe some presents or something, so that they can enjoy the holiday too. And I know there's lots of programs that help with families who have deployed service members, as well as the deployed service members' way to get them care packages and whatnot. But other than all of those wonderful programs who are just amazing people, I have to plug, you've got Nerdrotic Live and Nerdrotic Daily now, and
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who
No idea who Nerdrotic is. Well, let me tell you, he now has the Nerdrotic Network.
You're hurting a comic shop.
Yeah, he did actually used to own a comic shop. He's Perry Chan. Is hilarious. He's a genius. He is a clip master. He has his own YouTube channel, but he also pretty well just pumps stuff out on Nerdrotic Daily, helps Gary with Nerdrotic Daily to get the content out on there. And it's hilarious. It's wonderful. It's, clips from the show, from different shows.
I've actually reached out to him as a guest, and he says, well, I'm not very good with my English. Can I do it at a later time? So I'm actually hoping we get him eventually.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
He is good people. Yes. He's great people. He is good people. And they do, those two, they work so hard and they do such an amazing job. And, Gary doesn't plug himself enough. So I will shamelessly plug all of his things, like all of the things that are Gary. He's leaving Twitter at the end of the month. So I'll be funneling his videos and stuff on my page. And we're still sort of figuring out those logistics, but for links and stuff. But otherwise, Gary's off Twitter. Az is gonna be off Twitter too. But Gary's over on Parler.
Okay, that's gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on Parler. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook.
Okay.
So there are lots of ways. You can email him at gary@nerdrotic.com, or you can also email the Nerdrotic production team at gmail.com, because you'll probably get a response a little bit quicker if you go that way. If it's a question about, the show or anything like that, that's a good place to go. If you've got a personal question, Gary at nerdrotic.com. He's also got nerdrotic.com, which has the link to his Amazon page and the link to his tip jar for anybody that isn't comfortable with the super chats. I know some people don't like to give YouTube and whatnot info, and I 100% respect and understand that. You can go to his website and he's got a tip jar that goes to his PayPal. So, awesome. there's that too, because we've had questions. Yeah, we've had questions about people like, how can I don't want to sign up for Patreon, or, I don't want to link my card to YouTube, so how can I help? And it's like, go to nerdrotic.com. There's, you can support him there, donate there. Instagram, they've got Swipe Sundays, and you can look at different merch. Mrs. Nerdrotic does an amazing job over there on Instagram. You should follow her too. And she's Agent Bossy Boots on Twitter, but she's not really super duper active on Twitter, which I can understand. But they're doing amazing things. So that's.
I have more
so
questions.
Sorry, I know that was a lot of plugs and a lot of info.
You're devoted. You're a devoted employee. So, when can we expect to be on FNT? That's my shameless plug.
I didn't ask that question.
I don't mean it.
Of course, I would. I
would love to.
But
I can talk to Pat Steven Seagal in full 2D.
Aw, see there it is. There's the truth. No, I'm just kidding. No, I honestly, like I said, we've got guests lined up the way out. But Gary has brought up maybe just having one night where we sort of rotate out different channels every 20 minutes or so. We just don't really. We're trying to figure out the logistics, because, as you guys know, if certain topics come up, they can take on a whole 90-minute spiel of their own.
I wasn't serious. I was kidding. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot either. Gary, if you're listening, I didn't really mean it. I'm not trying to sneak my way in or Lorraine in. It was a joke.
He meant it. He meant it.
No, you know what?
He meant it. We know the truth. We know the truth.
Yeah, I've had people super chat and ask, because I think Tom was on my show, and they're just like, we need to get Lorraine on Friday Night Tights. I'm like, oh God, y'all are freaking embarrassing me right now.
Okay, that's Steven will definitely take her place. I can sound sultry as hell.
No, it would be great to be on one day. I'm just loving the show. I love it. I'm just so appreciative that you could spend your time to be with us today. And we will definitely have to get you back, Lady Gravemaster. Thank you so much.
I have one more thing to say as well. I would like you to pass this on to the FNT crew. They have a welcome spot and open door to our show whenever they want to come on. All they have to do is reply to my DMs. Sorry.
That's kind of asking a lot, though.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I know.
I know. Our door is open to them as a thank you for all they have done and provided with entertainment to us. Well, that's the least I can offer.
Absolutely.
And they can make as many fat jokes as they want. I have no soul.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for this interview, this edition of the After School Special with the lovely and amazing Lady Gravemaster. Please do follow her on Twitter, subscribe to her channel, and of course, watch Friday Night Tights. And of course, subscribe and follow all of us on Twitter. And I know I am on Parler. I'm going to be doing more on Parler in the future. But again, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate that. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands.
Wash your ass.
Well, yeah, that too. And respect each
Grandpa.
other as human beings.
Hail
do
Grandpa
that today.
Gravemaster.
Do that today.
Hi, Grandpa.
That's right. Hi, Grandpa Gravemaster.
I can't wait.
Bye.